Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thursday morning, the day of Activator, the day of starting things new, the day of getting things moving. Activator is number 4 on my talent scale according to the Clifton StrengthsFinder. And what I've been doing recently is coming down the beach, going for a swim, and then sharing a fairy tale or a rhyme with you and trying to assimilate it to life and trying to assimilate it to strengths. So I went live this morning a bit earlier than usual. Normally I go home and go live after I do this recording, but I was running out of ideas, funny enough, for someone who has ideation number 3 on nursery rhymes. So I asked Christy Myers, who turned up and listened, a nice friendly Kiwi girl who we've connected with over the last couple of months. She came up with a couple, the Pied Piper and Hansel and Gretel. And I ran with Hansel and Gretel, and I'll probably run with the Pied Piper tomorrow. I've got to do a bit of study on what that actually is about. I remember it being the piper who walks down the street and the kids follow, but we'll get to that. Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel, the story of children from a broken home, the father and the stepmother, and the kids start to disengage from their family and they go exploring at night. So they don't like mainstream society, and mainstream society's gone from a 2-parent home with a loving mother and father to having fathers and stepmothers and mothers and stepfathers, and they didn't get along. So they decide to collect rocks. I'm guessing about 5 of them, and they're throwing their talents, their rocks, along the ground as they walk through the path of the forest, looking for something new, looking for something better and brighter. And they come across, I don't know if they came across the gingerbread house or the house made of sweets and lollies first, or if that was the second night. But the first night, they go where they want to go, but they were scared and they were fearful of what was new and what was exciting. So kids becoming adults, not sure which path to take because they're in the dark, but they have these talents that allow them to lead them home. And they had time to collect these rocks through the day, because at the age of 5 to 7, we accumulate these talents and we start to develop these talents and have the ability to develop them into strengths when we go out into the big scary world. And more often than not, the big scary world is at school, where we're taught through mainstream society to learn a specific way and to not be unique. We've got to be learning all the same way. Yes, it could be consistency, yes it could be discipline, yes it could be focus, but not everyone has those talents in their top 5. Me, I think they're down below 20 out of 34, which is pretty shocking. But anyway, 2.5 minutes in, I've got 2.5 minutes to tell the story. So the second night, they don't have time to collect rocks, so they collect breadcrumbs. And they drop breadcrumbs along the way. And they run into a house that looks sweet and beautiful and a new world that's bright and shiny. And when they get inside, there's an evil witch or an evil woman, a haggard. And she locks them up in a cage like society does. They box them in a cage, and somehow they get out. And they manage to throw that person in the fire. They burn those bridges because they want to develop their talents into strengths. But when they go outside, the breadcrumbs are gone. There's no way home. You cannot return to the life it used to be. Because once you understand your talents, and once you understand you can develop them into strengths, it's no longer about focusing on the old path. It's no longer about focusing on where you've come from or where you've been. Yes, you can remember the good times, but how many of us remember the bad times? What's wrong is a question so often asked by parents and teachers and people around us. What's wrong? What's wrong? Why not ask the question, what's right? How's it going? What's up? What's looking up for you in life? But they go through this world and they get put in front of them this nice, beautiful, sweet home that looks fantastic, but once inside, it's hell. It's danger. It's scary. It's cages. It's pigeonholes. But you need to break down those walls. You need to become your own person and not rely on the breadcrumbs of life. Rely on making your own path, creating your own world, and going to a place that may be scary and it may be in the dark, but the sun will rise, or the sun will be seen early when you open up your world to strengths. When you learn to uncover your own talents, really, really expensive. It's all of about 15 or 20 bucks, depending on where you're from and depending on where you're going. But you can leave that in the top drawer, or you can read and learn more about it. You can develop those talents. You can grow your strengths. And you, your Hansel and Gretel, can become adults. You can become men and women and live a life of luxury and happiness and acceptance. Because once you accept that you are who you are and you are who you want to be, then you learn to focus on your strengths. So I'm Danny Crouch from Choose Your Chapter, and remember, focus on your strengths. Bye for now.